We discussed the 5 elements of nature and how those 5 elements play their roles in an aquascape. Do you think if even one of them was lacking or missing or not up to the quality or not up to the mark, will the rest of them work? That is what we are going to try and understand today. Now, if you have observed, we have moved our video sessions from my office to a place where there are aquariums, either being set or already established. Now, the idea is that you have to go through these things stepwise. You may always feel that you're going slow. Patience is the key, understanding is the key. See, today what we are going to do is an introduction video. It's a basic idea of how to start your implementation, what products to use, why to use those products, what is going to happen if you use it the right way and if you make mistakes. We will discuss all of that in the next 5-6 videos. Like I said, this is an introduction. In the next 5 videos, we will independently discuss earth, air, water, space and fire in any order. That is the water, the soil, the light, the oxygen or carbon dioxide, and finally the layout. We will discuss all of this, but in individual videos. Then we will get into the actual implementation of how our tank should be, what is our connection from our imagination to actually realizing it. That's also the 5 or 6 videos that we have made. We started with a story or imagination, and we are at the point of implementing that imagination. So we're taking it out of our head and making it real, right? But before we get to that step, and before we get to the step of choosing what we need to get, we have to understand one very important thing. What hobby are we in? Aquarium? No. Aquascaping? No. See, this is where people lose track. The actual hobby that we are in is in the hobby of keeping water clean. Everything starts with keeping water clean, and it all points to one organism or bacteria. If you don't understand the functions of bacteria, your system will not work. It's amazing that such a small creature, not visible, but it kind of controls everything in your system. There's no bacteria in the soil, you have a problem. There's no bacteria in the plant, you have a problem. There's no bacteria in the water, you have a problem. There's no bacteria in the fish, you have a problem. So this is what connects everything together. We're trying to keep the water clean. That means we're trying to have a good ecosystem that is rich in good bacteria, that takes care of the nitrogen cycle, that breaks down ammonia, that keeps the fish gut clean, that helps the plant to release excess carbon dioxide, and overall keep that ecosystem healthy. So if you take a chain, the connecting link to all these 5 elements is bacteria. Now, detail we will discuss as we go from every element. We will discuss independently the role of bacteria. Like I said, this is an introduction. So get an idea of where we are going or what we are trying to understand. And yes, I know some people are in a hurry to get their aquarium set quickly. Don't be, because I will not hurry this. I want you to understand every simple step and every single step and every minute bacterial point I want you to understand. That's my job. How you get this done is then up to you. What happens if we have a great soil, we have a good filtration system, we have good bacteria in the filter, but our light is lacking? There's an easy way to understand it. There is a scientist called Liebig. Okay, I don't know his full name, something Liebig. And he created something called the Liebig's law of minimums. Liebig's law of minimums is very easy. When you have a bunch of things that need to work together, actually he did it for fertilizers in farming, agriculture. And if you have a bunch of fertilizers that need to work together, and if one of them is less or more, then the rest of the fertilizers will not work. Kind of the same rule applies here. You need to figure out the balance between your soil, fertilizer, water, filter, light, all of these things. And of course, what plant will grow in that situation. So you're looking at an equilibrium or a balanced ecosystem. And to achieve that balanced ecosystem, you have to have the right kind of ingredients or right kind of products. Or let's put it like this, all the elements have to come together. See, we always fail to realize this, or we just don't realize it, that the earth where we are on, okay, the planet earth that we are on, is actually a balanced ecosystem in which all these elements have come together. Now we are seeing stuff like heavy floods, heat waves, and they all related to global warming. Ice caps are melting. This is because the equilibrium is getting disturbed. When you cut off a lot of trees, build a lot of buildings, create a lot of industries, okay, and you are polluting the whole system. So basically you're increasing carbon dioxide, reducing oxygen or oxygen generators, balance is lost. Everything is shifting, everything is changing. That's exactly what happens to your aquascape. Now, our videos are timed correctly for your aquascape to start at the rainy season where the temperature goes down. And that's the reason I said don't be in a hurry. Because if you start your aquascape now, the temperature is too high and your aquascape will not achieve balance. Because everything, most importantly bacteria, needs a certain temperature to grow. If the temperature of the water is very high, bacteria will not grow the way it should, or not grow, it will just die. So understand this, the key element to start any aquascape is to understand the 5 basic elements: your soil, your water, your light, filtration system, and of course your space or the whole layout, what kind of wood to use, what kind of stone to use, what will happen. I explained to you earlier, you need to start asking that question: which, when, what, where, how. Constantly keep asking those questions. Because if you don't answer those questions for yourself or find answers for those questions, you'll end up with an imbalanced ecosystem. And that's something you don't want. An imbalanced ecosystem means then you have a lot of algae. Okay, you have different kinds of algae growing all over the place and taking the nutrition away from your plants. So the whole ecosystem starts to break down. Algae is an amazing creature, okay, because that is one creature that can grow at slightly higher temperatures. I'm saying creature because just like that, but I mean it's a living being, okay, it's like a plant, it's not a creature. But yeah, we've demonized algae, right? We've made algae the bad person, the devil, the creature. That's why creature. But algae is actually good. Algae actually shows you what the problem is or where the balance is being lost. So it's a good thing for your aquarium. And at every stage of your aquascape, you will have some kind of algae or the other. Algae is something that is never void in an aquarium. Matlab, it's never missing. It's always there. It's dormant. So if somebody tells you can kill the algae, they're making a mistake. You're making a mistake listening to them. You can control it. You keep the tank in balance, equilibrium, well balanced, algae will not come. When your balance shifts, algae will start growing. And every single aquarium, there should be algae. Some amount of algae should be there. Otherwise, what food will your algae eaters get? How will they survive? See, now algae eaters are omnivorous. They just don't eat algae. They also eat dead and decay matter. They eat dead and decay leaves. They eat dead and decay plants. They also eat dead and decay other animals like shrimp or fish. They're a cleaning crew. Omnivorous in the sense they can eat anything. Veg, non-veg, they can eat both. They're easily known as algae eaters. That's all. But you need them in the system. They are part of the balance. So you need to now figure out what all you need. You need the right kind of soil. You need to create a proper substrate layer so that there is ample amount of oxygen in the soil. Suppose you decide I'm just going to put soil. There's not enough oxygenation. There's not enough oxygen flow. So there's no bacteria growth in the soil. That means your plant will get affected. So a proper substrate layer with the right kind of bacteria, with the right kind of nutrients has to be there. Think about this. I'm sure all of you have seen kheti badi, agriculture at some point or the other in your lives. Maybe when you were young, maybe on TV, something. Why is it that olden days there were 2 bulls and a plow, and person used to press the plow down and they used to dig the mud before planting any trees? Today it's all mechanical, it's done by tractors and stuff like that. They plow. Why? Why is it so important? It's a process of oxygenating the soil. See, again, as I said this before, we are not doing any rocket science here. It's all understood, it's all there, the theory is there, or the practical application is there, theory and practical. We just need to understand it. But here, every 3 months we can't plow, no? So you create a substrate layer that is highly rich in bacteria, or create a substrate layer that has ample amount of space for bacterial growth and oxygen and root growth. So that is your substrate layer. What to use? Interesting question. Multiple options, which we will discuss in the substrate layer video. For all those budding aquascapers, we will be presenting you or sending you a small message with regards to how you can get our indica soil. So you will be those first few people who will be testing our soil, who will be trying our soil in India, first in India kind of thing. I had promised you this, especially the Gold Max members. So you will get a message from us. Stay tuned on that. We'll discuss that later. Now, once you have the substrate layer in place, we need to understand the water. We can't go out and buy a particular kind of water. That's expensive. So can we use what water we have? How do you know that the water we have is good for our aquarium? What are the tests that need to be done? How should we check? What are the parameters? Then, how is the water affected by our ambient temperature? See, let's say you live in a place like Mumbai or Chennai. It's always hot. So how do you maintain this at a particular temperature? It's very important. If the water temperature is consistent, then your aquascape is also beautiful. Plants, fish are all creatures of habit. If they get the right environment, right setting, they will do beautifully. They will grow beautifully. On the contrary, if you are living in high altitude places, say like Shimla or one of those places, it's always cold. So how do you maintain the temperature? What happens in cities like Delhi, Rajasthan, where winters are ridiculously cold and summers are ridiculously hot? How do you balance the two? You have to make sure you understand this. You have to make sure that you are prepared for this. Making an aquascape is very easy. Keeping the water clean is very difficult, and you have to learn the right way to do it. Then, what kind of lighting to choose? See, lighting is not very technical, though most people make it sound very complicated. RGB, WRGB. Frankly, it's all BS. Sorry for my language, but it's a whole lot of crap. They're all advertising gimmicks. You have to understand your plants and you figure out what lights they will grow in. One of the best lights that I've seen in my experience is an old-fashioned round tube light. They're called T8 tubes with an 8500 Kelvin. Beautiful light. Every 3-4 months you change them because they'll start dimming down. Okay, and they'll give you fantastic growth. This is a fact. I'm not saying that fancy brands. I'm using fancy brands. Yeah, I'm using fancy brands. But it's just convenience. Somebody's done the testing and I'm happy using it. Somebody's done the hard work. Whereas when you go for regular stuff and you want to do it, then you will have to play with it a little. See what is working, see what is not working. Is this plant growing? Is this plant not growing? And then you figure out which is the best for you. I made a very interesting video where actually the first step of learning to aquascape is to learning to grow plants. It's an amazing video. You can watch it. Okay, you can all watch it. Because without understanding what plant grows in your water, in your home, in your conditions, there's no point in trying to make an aquascape. Because you won't know what plants to use. A lot of people message me and say, sir, what plants to use? I said, that's not my point to decide. You have to figure out whether it works for you. Yes, in the last 10 years, I have figured out what works here, what grows best, and that's what we use. There are a lot of plants that we are not able to grow. Not that we are not capable, not that we are not using the best equipment. Our water does not match it. It doesn't give the right conditions for that plant to grow. As simple as that. Once you have your lights and everything, you have smaller things, okay, like your fertilizers and what to use and few other things. You need to understand organic, inorganic minerals. Soil has different kind of fertilizers or nutrients. The water can handle different kinds of nutrients. So plants, certain things they absorb from the root and certain things they absorb from the leaf. So what are these different fertilizers? Why should we use this differently? Why cannot it all be together? All of this we need to start understanding. And of course, very importantly, if you're keeping the water clean, then what kind of filtration to have? Which brand is better than the other? Or can we make your own? And if that has to be done, then how can it be done easily or cost effectively? These are all the basic elements that we will understand in the next few videos to come. The next video or the next 5 videos will be earth, water, air, fire and space. Independently, we will understand each and every element, that is soil, water, the carbon dioxide or oxygen, nitrogen, all of those gases. Then we will understand the lighting and we will understand the space or the aquascape. We will understand all of these elements independently. And then finally, we will see how they all come together, and then we will actually get into setting up a tank. Actually, I have a 4-feet tank in mind, and that's what we will set up. So every step of that setup will be one independent video. Okay, why we are doing what we are doing, so that you know each and every step clearly, right? We will take it from there. So stay tuned with these videos. Be patient. Don't be in a hurry. You are going to set up a beautiful aquascape in the next 1 month, and that's my assurance. So patiently keep watching and understand. Okay, make notes. What I see is, I don't expect all of you to follow this, but make notes and start asking questions. Your comments box is there for that. It helps a lot of other people. Maybe you know the answer. Ask questions. Maybe you don't know the answer. Ask questions. Somebody will reply. No, there is a communication happening. There is a community, right? That's how you gain more stuff. I can keep making videos, boss. I have no problem. But how will you learn if you don't ask what is there in your mind? So all of you members, ask questions. Then I know that, okay, somebody is listening to what I'm saying also. Again, Saturday there will be a Zoom class where we will send you a WhatsApp message for the new Zoom link. There is a new Zoom link. Don't connect on the old Zoom link. We will send you a new Zoom link. So you connect on that. Also, we have announced a Fishy People's group, which we will be connecting with you very soon. Okay, we will check data and we will connect with all the Fishy Peoples very soon. And we will have separate programs for you. Chalo, see you on Saturday. Bye-bye.